jumping the gun. It's an expression that comes from the field of sports. But it's the media that deserves credit for making it famous. If you're wondering how, then look no further than the Pegasus affair. It gives you an insight into the media's contribution. Let's recap a little. On Sunday, a report was released claiming a spyware is being abused by quote-unquote authoritarian governments. The name of this spyware, as all of you know by now, is Pegasus. Its targets were said to be some 50,000 phone numbers, 50,000. 300 of them were said to be from India. Now, this report said it is their belief that the data is indicative of the potential targets. There were many variables, a lot of conjecture. The report relied on possibility and the naivety of its readers to establish the missing links themselves. We at WION asked, where is the proof to corroborate these allegations? And we were condemned for asking this question because everybody was so sure about the culprits. Who else but the government would be spying on its citizens? Then on Wednesday, another report emerged. Turned out governments too were not immune to this. The Washington Post waited for 3 days to reveal that heads of states were also being spied on. By whom? President Emmanuel Macron of France was apparently being spied on by Morocco. President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa was apparently the target of Rwanda. And Imran Khan Niazi of Pakistan says that he is being spied on by the government of India. Big names, big claims, and again, a big question mark on evidence. It's Thursday today, and we have another twist in the tale, courtesy Amnesty International. They're the ones who claim to have first accessed the so-called leaked database, the list of the 50,000 phone numbers. Here's what they say now. Amnesty never presented this list as NSO's Pegasus spyware list. The statement is on your screen. Let me quote the most bizarre part. This is what it says. Amnesty and the investigative journalists involved made it clear from the outset in very clear language that this was a list of numbers marked as numbers of interest to NSO customers who are different regimes in the world. This is a list indicative of the company's customers who have expressed interest in following journalists and human rights activists, political rivals, lawyers, and so on. I would like to repeat one line. This is a list indicative of the company's customers who have expressed interest in following journalists. Who are the NSO's customers? 45 governments. What does Amnesty say they have done? Expressed interest in following some people. How does Amnesty know this? It doesn't answer. Where was this database leaked from? It doesn't answer. Who hacked the phones? No answers. Then how exactly is this a global expose? If anything, this is a global embarrassment for the media organizations involved. Amnesty issued a clarification saying that it had been lost in translation, its statement. The original statement was in Hebrew. It says some words were wrongly quoted in the English statement. But it still doesn't help its case. They say there's a list of 50,000 phones. 50,000 numbers. Do you know how many of them were tested? 67. 67 out of 50,000 phones underwent a forensic analysis to find out if they had been infected with Pegasus. How many phones were found to be infected? 37. Again, how many phone numbers do they say were targeted? 50,000. 37 phones out of 50,000. Is this a joke? And things get more interesting when you look at their backgrounds. The phone numbers were first accessed by two organizations. Look at their backgrounds. Amnesty International, which is an NGO that shut shop in India after the government asked them to show their foreign funding source. And the second one is the Paris-based Forbidden Stories. Forbidden Stories was launched by Reporters Without Borders, RSF, an abbreviation of its French name. RSF claims to be a non-profit, non-government organization, but it has been proven to be on the payroll of the US State Department. No wonder America is not on the list of countries spying on its citizens. On your screen is a report published by The Guardian in 2005. It says RSF denies receiving money. This is what it says. RSF denies receiving money from the United States State Department, but confirmed that it had received a grant of $40,000 from the Conservative National Endowment for Democracy. Conservative National Endowment for Democracy, which in turn is a US government-funded project. Go figure. Let's also talk about the company that is being accused of facilitating this surveillance, the NSO Group. It says it will now investigate these claims. The NSO Group is an Israeli cybersecurity giant based in Tel Aviv. Some 850 people work for this group. Some 45 vetted governments use the software it made, which is Pegasus. And any deals that this company strikes are approved by Israel's Ministry of Defense. We traveled to their headquarters in 2019 when the snooping allegations first emerged. And again today, WION correspondent Jody Cohen traveled to Herzliya to the NSO Group headquarters. She sent us this report.
In response to all the allegations, NSO has issued statements saying enough is enough, and that the claims are so outrageous and far from reality that NSO is considering a defamation lawsuit. It emphasizes that the company sells its technology solely to law enforcement and intelligence agencies of vetted governments for the sole purpose of saving lives through preventing crime and terror acts. According to sources, the Israeli government is said to be taking the matter very seriously. It has apparently formed a senior ministerial team to deal with the allegations. In the meantime, NSO says it will faithfully execute its mission undeterred, despite continued attempts to discredit it on, quote, false grounds. This is Jody Cohen outside NSO HQ in Herzliya, Israel, for WION World is One.
So the group has promised to investigate the claims. It also says, blame our customers for hacking, not us. Well, they may have a point, but who are the customers? And is it just the customers who were spying, or did the NSO software fall into the hands of some non-state actors? Since we're talking about possibilities, consider this one too. NSO founder and CEO Shalev Julio has acknowledged that some of its customers have misused its software in the past. In cases like these, he says, the group shut off the client's access to its systems and in the process lost millions of dollars worth of contracts. What a sacrifice. They say that this is how the NSO ensures that its software is used as intended, safely, effectively, and ethically. Now, it's hard to put ethical and snooping in the same sentence, but this is the NSO's claim. The company also says that it has a list of over 55 countries which are banned from buying its software. On what basis are these countries banned? Human rights protection, corruption, and regulatory restrictions. So let me get this straight. Governments that respect human rights are the ones who buy surveillance tools. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Anyway, the NSO now says that it will probe the reports and its clients are obliged to provide data for this investigation. Since they plan to involve no independent agency, it's anybody's guess as to how credible this investigation will be. So after 4 days of frenzy, here's what we have in the Pegasus project. The group that went to town with Snoopgate says, we never said NSO. The group that sold surveillance software says, we will probe who used it. And of the 50,000 targets, only 37 have been found to be compromised. Some governments have ordered investigations. We have more questions than answers, and a host of people gunning for us if we ask these questions. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.